The future belongs to those who dare, those who will do extra. Hi, I'm Mark Croskery. Welcome to Business Dive Extra, the program that looks beyond dollars and cents to the movers and shakers in business and the capital markets. Today's guest features a tenacious woman with an innovative spirit. She has accomplished many notable achievements and is an inspirational leader with years of experience across many industries. The early years of her career were spent in Canada and the US teaching and as a securities dealer marketer. On her return to Jamaica, she taught at her alma mater, Immaculate Conception High School, then ventured into entrepreneurship. She started with Dairy Castle restaurants, and from that, diversification birthed Chicken Supreme. Her most celebrated success is excellent in pioneering this popular indigenous chain of quick service restaurants, QSRs, on the Jamaica food landscape. She's famously known as a Chicken Mistress who created a brand that Jamaicans have grown to love. Joining us today is Thalia Lyn, founder and CEO of the Island Grill Group of Restaurants. Thalia, welcome to Business Dive Extra.
How are you?
I know you want to hug me.
Oh, no.
But we still have to do a COVID bump.
I guess so.
Great to have you.
Nice to be here, Mark.
Yeah, I know. First time on Business Dive Extra.
Yes,
Great to see you, and you're looking great.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, always. How did you get, we just spoke about it, teacher, you're in investment markets. How did you get your entrepreneurial bug?
I think it was from my dad, because when I think about somebody who barely had a high school education, always wanting to own his own business and bringing up all of us, all his daughters included, to, just be self-sufficient, I thought, well, I think I want to own my own business.
Yeah. And what did your, taking us back, what did your dad do?
My dad actually, my grandfather would have come from China. My dad, he didn't speak much English, but he managed to start a bakery. And my dad wanted to make that bakery the best in Jamaica, in any way he could. The thing was that my dad was in high school when my grandfather started this whole process. And my grandfather kept taking him out of school. My father was Gladstone Chang, by the way. My brother Raymond was named after him, G. Raymond Chang. So Daddy wanted to make this bakery into a successful venture across Jamaica. And he worked as hard as he could to get it to that stage where it would become a family name. And he did succeed in that with just a high school education.
So growing up, you saw this entrepreneurism, and in a way you had this fire bundled up in you.
I think we all did. There were 12 of us growing up. My father adopted 5 of my cousins, so there were 12 of us, 9 girls, and the girls always wanted to emulate the boys. So I think that's why the boys were quieter and, more, not as outgoing as we were, not as rambunctious anyway, but the girls all thought we needed to make our mark. And he also decided that we all had to have a tertiary education, because he didn't have that opportunity. So that's what he set out to do, to make sure all 12 of his children had a tertiary education, but also that all 12 of us were independent. So that's why we became so, I think, entrepreneurial, where we wanted to own our own little space, no matter how small.
Well, now, in your early years, which a lot of persons don't know about you, like your teaching years, even your working years, was that driven by, let's say, being independent, you wanted to save your own kind of capital or money, or was that driven by, your parents saying, go and learn for yourself, or was it a kind of mixture of the two?
I think it was a mixture of the two. Like, I taught in my early, I always wanted to be a teacher, though. That's a funny thing.
Was that your kind of early passion?
That was my early passion. I thought, I want to teach. And I taught at Immaculate. I taught English language, English literature, English grammar, and I taught 5 first forms. And there were at least maybe 40 children in each class. My numbers might be a little off. But what I will say is that when I realized how much work it was, I loved it. But if you give an English composition, you ask how many children, to write compositions, and then you have to sit and go through them. And I'm a stickler for grammar. Yes. I always have been. Then you realize how much work it was. But it wasn't the work that deterred me. it was when I got my first paycheck. Like the first month, 17 pounds, 50 shillings, and I thought, I'm not going to get very far with this, you know. I think I want to be a little more comfortable, because already my mind was working, and I was saying to myself, if I start a family, how am I going to provide them with the things that I want? You know, I want to own a car. 17 pounds, 50 shillings isn't going to take me very far. But I loved Immaculate, I loved teaching, and I thought I need to make a choice.
So even as a teacher, if you get paid during the summer, your ambition bug was really kicking in from that age.
Correct.
And did you find, looking back in hindsight, they always say teachers have a really good, kind of acumen around human resources and people. Do you find that helped you kind of being an entrepreneur today with people management?
You know, the people part of it, yes, I would say that you learned that every child is different. So that carries over into your business. And I'm at the stage in my career where people are so important in our business at Island Grill. And my son and daughter-in-law, who would be my succession plan, are so focused on people.
Yes.
And, they're giving us, me included. We had a session this morning, 35 of us were in the group,
wow. Okay.
and we got a book to read, and it's all about people, how you understand people, how you get people to not only open their minds, but open their hearts. So they can respond. But yes, coming back to your question, I did learn about people from that stage of my life.
And you're talking about, let's say in today's staff count or head count, you're talking about roughly what, 600 or?
You're talking about our staff complement?
Island Grill group standpoint.
We have over 600, 622 was the last count.
Okay.
But we're coming from like almost 800 in 2019.
Okay. So it's kind of come down a bit from the peak given the pandemic.
Down, yes.
Okay.
And we've learned a lot from the pandemic about people as well.
And do you find yourself, kind of revving up again, given, what's happening with the kind of reopening the sector, curfew hours lifted? Do you find yourself revving up again, or you're taking your time?
No, we're revving up as best we can, because we're realizing that it's people, people, people.
Yes.
So we have to step up. We have to get even better at getting our people to be part of our Island Grill family. We have to really concentrate on that, because we want the culture at Island Grill to be, it's a family atmosphere where we have only good vibes. This could be your first job, but it's a learning experience, and you can go right up to the top.
Yes.
Or if you leave us, it's still your first best job.
You want them to come back and buy some Island Grill?
Yes.
And buy it for them and their families.
Yes. Yeah. And this is the thing, I go anywhere nowadays, I travel and they say, Miss Lyn, you don't remember me, but I used to work at Island Grill.
Yeah.
Right? And it just gives me such a feeling of joy to know that they would go out of their way to come and say to me, I used to work at Island Grill with a big smile on their faces. Yeah. So that can't help but make you feel good.
And Thalia, to that point, do you find, do staff have like nicknames for you? You've been in the business for, let's say 30 plus years. You're wearing, not all of our guests come on and wear a logo shirt, but you're wearing the Island Grill brand. You're extremely proud of it. Do you have some like internal nicknames or just nicknames?
I don't know about internal. Maybe they say it behind my back, but I do know that people will say, "Oh, there's a chicken lady," because my name isn't easy. It's not an easy name to remember, because I remember when I knew that we had made an impression was when it was on one of the school challenge quizzes. What's the name of the CEO at Island Grill? And they couldn't remember the name, but they said, that's a chicken lady.
Okay.
So yes, I think I'm called the chicken lady. And when we were toying around with names even, the name we came up with was Crazy Fowl. And crazy, I know.
For the company name at the time?
Yes. Okay. Not the trading name, but the company name.
Okay.
But I think, I'm a little crazy, but I'm not an old fowl yet. Yes. Not quite.
Well, they say all entrepreneurs are, they have that kind of fun side to them, or a bit crazy or enigmatic or who knows, sometimes even bipolar.
Well,
A lot of the global studies do say.
I'm sure I'm probably all of those things, Mark. And not only that, Mike and I, my son, we talk about it. We're probably ADHD, but it didn't have a name in those days. And we've managed to turn it to our advantage. Nowadays, you know, it has a name, but you wonder about labels.
Yes, no,
you don't really want to label.
No,
You don't want to have those labels. So we'll admit it. Maybe we were, but we're okay.
With where,
so yes, so I think.
And you know, Thalia, there's a part of your life where you were selling investments as well in Canada, and it was in particular it was mutual funds, right?
Correct.
And how did you know before the whole Chicken Supreme came on stream and later Island Grill, but how did you get into selling investments now? Like let's say pivoting from teaching and just a brand new sector, something totally different.
Well, what happened was when I moved to Canada and they told me I had to go back to Ontario's Teachers College for a year, I thought, I don't want to go back to school for another year. I want to earn money. And I was able, lucky enough, I got involved with a gentleman, an airline pilot who used to fly to Jamaica.
Yes.
And he had just bought a mutual fund. And he said, would you like to come on work? Because we're practically doing it out of his basement. And he says, you have to take the mutual fund course. And sure, I'll take the mutual fund course. It was easy. And then he says...
And that's the mutual fund course in Canada?
In Canada.
Okay.
We had moved to Canada.
Right.
My husband, Michael, wanted to fly for Air Canada. So we migrated to Canada. He was going to be a pilot with Air Canada. I was going to teach. So anyway, it didn't work out for either one of us that way. But anyway, he said, well, you seem to have an aptitude for this. Why don't you go further and take the Canadian Securities course, which would also qualify you to be a stockbroker? And then when he figured out that I could understand all the investment terminology and I could go a little further, he sent me out to market mutual funds. And I enjoyed that because I traveled across Canada. That's how I met Michael Leachin.
Yes.
Because he, at that time, had not become a billionaire that he is today.
Yes.
But he was working not for himself, as he was running a smaller agency. And I remember the first day we met because I went to Waterloo, he was there. And we were just so happy to see each other as Jamaicans.
As Jamaicans.
And we worked well together because I gave him names of Jamaicans who I knew had migrated to Canada. He went and sold them the mutual funds, and I was happy because he was selling my fund.
And you were making money together.
We were making money together.
Yeah.
It was a happy time.
Yeah,
we're
going to come right back to that. Yeah, good vibes. We take our first break on Business Live Extra. We're talking to Thalia Lyn, CEO, Island Grill Group of Restaurants. We'll hear all about the company when we return. Welcome back to Business Live Extra. Island Grill was founded in 1991. The company has approximately 640 employees, coming from a high of almost 800. Island Grill is inspired by the vibrant flavors of Jamaica, focusing on its signature jerk chicken. Since inception, Island Grill has morphed into a chain of 16 restaurants in Jamaica and one at the Grantley Adams International Airport in Barbados. Island Grill's mantra, to eat good, live good, arises from their passion to capitalize on the amazing tastes and flavors of Jamaica by creating exciting new dishes served with warm island hospitality. The company is one of the first restaurant chains to promote fresh, healthy Jamaican food and beverages and to introduce eco-friendly packaging. To tell us more is Thalia Lyn, founder and CEO of Island Grill. Thalia, welcome back to Business Live Extra.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good having you. You were just talking about, you're selling on mutual funds, making some money, making it work. In those days, were you selling, AIC funds or CI funds, especially with that Jamaica background and all the buzz?
It was a company called Universal Savings Equity, which morphed into CI funds, which my brother then took to another stage. Like when I was at Universal, we had maybe $1 million under management, right? And when we got to 5 million, it was like big celebration. Now, I don't really know how many billions CI has under management. The management company is a publicly listed company.
Right.
And Mike Lee Chin also had in his portfolio, with his AIC funds, a big chunk of CI funds.
CI.
So there was always a lot of interaction, you know, it like coming around back in a circle. And my brother Ray,
yes,
he actually was an electrical engineer who went on and did his CA and started a furniture company. So we all go a roundabout way and then come back to maybe what we really love and nest that.
Yeah. So even if, you know, both of them, you know, Ray and Mike were, say, competitors at one point, they actually kind of invested in each other, or they had each other's funds.
Yes, and they were always friends.
There was a relationship.
They were always friends and respected each other greatly. I mean, I think they bounced a lot off of each other.
Nice. Yeah.
So I think Mike misses Ray as much as I miss him.
Yeah. And Thalia, do you think you know, the question would be, I mean, you were there, let's say, $1 million Canadian dollars, and it hit 5 million Canadian dollars. I mean, your brother stayed there, you know, Mr. Lee Chin stayed there. I mean, went on to grow billions of AUM. But you came home and then you started this this massive business today. What made you come back to Jamaica versus, let's say, continue to sell mutual funds and maybe rise, you know, high up in one of those companies? I
think the first question you asked me, entrepreneurship. I could come back to Jamaica and probably own my own company. And part of it was as well that Michael, instead of joining Air Canada, Air Jamaica came into existence. So he came back to Jamaica, joined Air Jamaica, and was with Air Jamaica right through until he retired at age 60, because at that time, that was a retirement age. But he had a really fulfilling career.
Yes.
And I was able to travel and see what else obtained out in the world and bring back ideas as to how to develop my own business. So
it's just a whole different sequence of events happening at once.
Correct.
That brought you back
to Jamaica. Because I had well, actually, our two sons, Michael and Craig, were born in Canada. You know, so I did stay back when Michael joined Air Jamaica, but the commuting was hard. Plus, it wasn't exactly the best family life, even though he could jump on a plane and come. It wasn't ideal. It wasn't what we wanted as a family life.
No, you start Island Grill, let's say 1991, or Chicken Supreme. Formative years, early years, cakewalk, or tough years like any business startup?
Tough. And I mean, you know, people always ask me, you're a woman in business, what kinds of problems did you have? And I didn't really think about it, that it was because I was a woman in business that I was having these issues. But what I will say is that the first time I was told that my husband needed to come and sign on my loans, I was really upset. And I said, it's not his business, it's mine, right? So that kind of irked me.
Was it that they wanted like a co-guarantor? Maybe
they wanted a co-guarantor.
Especially in those days? Yeah.
But even still, they're asking for him to sign. Well, I think I finally passed that stage mark. Yeah. But it's been a little... It's very disconcerting, right? Because it really is not his business. Yeah. Right now, I think he's glad that I'm in business, right? Because he claims I have no pension. Yeah. But what I will say is that, you know, when they ask about, gender equality in the business place, I don't think about it, because in our business, about 80% of our staff are women.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of coincidental. It's not as if I have set out to make sure, because I'm a woman in business, that my staff are mostly women. But it's just that all my district managers are women. All my restaurant managers are women. And it's not as if I said I'm singling out the women. It's because women have, in this particular instance, risen to the top.
From a, like, especially a meritocracy standpoint, they've actually just they've gone into the roles.
That's exactly what it is.
And performed.
The succession plan, my daughter-in-law Denise Lyn is the CEO designate. My son Michael is, and Denise is the chief operating officer. My son, Michael, is the chief innovative officer, and he's very innovative. They met at art school, so you wouldn't think that two art students would have ended up back in Jamaica
when
in
they
the chicken business.
So when they joined the business, you just haven't immediately put them into, let's say, a general manager or managing director or one of those roles? No, they've been
working. Let me tell you when they started working with us, and I can't remember years, but when we opened in Florida, they then kind of came on board to help with that, because we did think at that time that we would be opening a chain of restaurants in Florida.
Right. Yes.
So they kind of got used to what the business was all about, except it was harder.
Yes.
Because, you know, there's more bureaucracy in opening a restaurant. You know, you have
and
to,
there's more competition, right?
There is more competition. But the competition didn't bother us. It's probably the inexperience. And it's not as if we didn't do the research. It's just that even in, like, Florida, Pembroke Pines was different from Lauderdale Lakes, you know, with the fire, what you have to do for fire safety, what you have to, those kinds of things.
The regulatory and the permits.
Exactly. All the regulatory issues were different. So anyway, they actually got involved with the business at that point. But when their second child went off to university 3 years ago, that's when they came back to Jamaica and said, okay, we're ready.
Yes.
But it's not as if they were coming in brand new. So Denise automatically became the COO, and Mike says, okay, now I can really get my teeth into this. And I would say, I told him this, I'm like a helicopter now. I'm going up higher and higher, just hovering, and if I need to land, I'll land. But they're pretty much...
Have you found it has, in a way, you know, re-energized you? Got you even more excited having both of them, you know, in the company?
It has, because we're not too old to learn, so having them here, and because everything has gone so digital, Mark, you know, and because my brain takes a little longer to master some of these technological differences, that if they weren't there, although I will say my grandson Matthew is better at teaching grandma how to master some of those skills, that if I didn't have them here, if I didn't have them here during COVID, it would have been really tough for us.
Really tough on you. Yeah.
Yes. But I think I'm drifting. What did you ask me at the beginning?
No. You know, everything for a reason. I mean, I think you're really seeing the whole Island Grill business continuity planning coming out. You know, as you said, you're the chicken lady, and everybody really knows you. You know, you're really the matriarch of Island Grill.
Yes, I don't need to be the face anymore. But but I know what you asked me. If it was a piece of cake, and it wasn't a piece of cake because I went through FinSAC. Having gone through FinSAC, well, first of all, as I said, the bank loans, they're saying, oh, your husband has to come and sign. And our partner is David McCrae, another pilot. So they wanted him to sign.
Because you do have kind of a diverse or diverse capital table or market capital table.
Yes, that is so. But FinSAC was tough. And I thought, having gone through FinSAC, where I was operating with an overdraft, that anything else could come at me and I would survive. Because I remember, wow, you know, when you had those, you don't remember, you're too young. But
thank you. Yeah.
You know, oh my goodness, you went into overdraft and then you had to pay a penalty. And then it was, I've never seen interest rates at almost 100%. And that's what we were seeing. And, you know, we were just kind of growing at that point. So I thought, okay, I'm ready for the world, and that's when we kind of figured we were ready for Florida.
It's a really relevant point, all right? I mean, a lot of, you know, we've seen a lot of Jamaican businesses, you know, get crippled in FinSAC, but even after FinSAC, you know, we've seen Jamaica businesses that are huge, even well capitalized, go by the wayside. You know, in those days especially, like say 1999, or even after, even in the last 10 years or so. You know, did you ever feel like this is something we're always going to do on your own? As you said, you're female-owned, you're independent, many different categories. Or did you feel like, okay, if stuff really got bad, you could pick up the phone and call Ray and help you out? Or were you always very self-driven?
No, I was self-driven. There's no way I was going to call my younger brother and say, hey, I need help. I mean, and to be honest, he did invest when we were doing Florida. But that was because we needed more capital, to grow that business. But I figured I could figure it out myself.
Yeah.
And I pretty well have, except as I said to you, when COVID came, if Mike and Denise weren't here to help rally the troops, because that's a bigger thing, you have to let your staff know that, look, we're not going to fold. Now, if you think about this, August is one of our busiest months of the year.
And why is that?
Because of the returning residents.
Really?
In July and August, the returning residents want Jamaican food.
Okay.
So July, August, December are our best months. So August comes around and we're open. We're closed. Put it this way, we're closed 43% of the time. Plus, we don't have that normal influx of customers because the returning residents are not coming home.
It's interesting. I would have never thought that or known that.
Yes. We're comfort food. We really are comfort food, but we manage to come across as premium comfort food. So it's a little bit of a treat, and everybody loves a treat. And this is the other thing that we were figuring out, that during COVID, people still wanted a little treat because everything was so bad. So how do we differentiate ourselves in the market?
Yes, I like that.
To make sure. So this is where Mike and Denise, as I said, they're innovative.
With the innovation and everything. We're going to come back to that point. We take another break on Business Dive Extra. More when we return. Welcome back to Business Dive Extra. Island Grill has noticeably been upgrading stores in recent years and adding new stores in Jamaica, with its latest store being in downtown Kingston. Digital menu boards have been installed across all Island Grill restaurant locations, with Island Grill's existing menu, as well as several new additions and a continuing fresh experience of menu changes or add-ons. Island Grill has had successful joint ventures, JVs, with their branding and their chain by partnering with notable brands such as Wisynco, True Juice, Best Dress, Jamaica Producers, and others. We speak to Thalia Lyn about what drives this consistent R&D at Island Grill and how she and Island Grill are able to make co-branding and JVs work. Thalia, welcome back to Business Dive Extra. It's great having you.
It's great being here.
Yeah. Thalia, going back to that point, the branding, the entrepreneurism, how did you started with Chicken Supreme, but Island Grill, roughly 1998, that's where you are today. How did you, the team, the board of directors, brainstorm and come up with this fantastic brand, Island Grill?
What I would say is that when we started as Chicken Supreme, we wanted to look American, because we realized that anything foreign is what appeals to Jamaicans.
That was the thought process.
That was a big thing. They have a bias towards anything foreign. So we wanted to look foreign.
And was there a Chicken Supreme overseas at the time?
No,
or a brand or something?
And there again, Mike was the one who came up with that chicken logo and came up with all the colors and everything else. We looked very foreign. We started off with chicken on the grill, very foreign. It was very bland, and we had dipping sauces at the side. And we realized that it was a good concept, but it wasn't taking off. So we did okay. So
it was really just grilled chicken.
It was grilled chicken, and we had good dipping sauces. We had honey mustard. We have better sauces now though, because we have like Scotch bonnet and sorrel, that sort of thing. But everything was very North American, so it was bland. We're using parsley, and I don't want to insult anybody, but it was when we put thyme, and Mohan Jagnarine from Spurtree, he was working with us at the time, and he says, Mrs. Lyn, you need to add jerk sauce on this.
We actually had him on, and he spoke very fondly of you and
we have
and
a
Island
good relationship, but he's the one who encouraged us to put jerk seasoning on the chicken. And when we did that, it really was a wow. So we then said, we need to change the decor, we need to change the name, we need to change everything. We don't want to look foreign anymore. We want to look Jamaican. So we used the name Island Grill instead of Jamaican Grill because we also thought if we go overseas with it, anywhere at all,
Yes.
we want to say we're Island Grill because even in Barbados, Island Grill works, and we have like flying fish.
Oh, you do on the menu?
On the menu, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so we want to be a little flexible.
Flexible. No, was the logo like, you know, with the peppers on top of Island Grill and just even the look and feel, is it the same?
You love my logo?
No, I like it a lot, yeah.
Yes.
Is it the same like now as it was in 98, or has it had different iterations since 1998
you know,
to now?
Mike designed the logo, and they were supposed to be dancing peppers. And I said, Mike, they don't look like Scotch bonnets. He says, Mom, Scotch bonnets don't dance as well. So what he has done is he has kind of scaled down a little bit more. So we still use both, but this is where he differs sometimes to his mom, right? I said, you can't get rid of this, but he really tends to use this one a lot more.
Right.
And Denise agrees with him. Priscilla, the marketing head of marketing, agree. They're moving towards simpler, cleaner lines.
And when you say Mike, Mike is your son?
Mike
in the business.
Jr.
Denise,
Denise,
your daughter-in-law,
wife, yes.
in the business, right?
Right. And as I mentioned before, they met at Rhode Island School of Design.
Okay.
So they're very artistic.
Right.
He's the one who said, digital menu boards, that's the way we have to go. And I think you talked about joint ventures.
The stores, so the stores, I mean, is that across all the stores now, all 16? I mean, the menu boards look fresh.
Yes.
You have some breadfruit chips now recently on them?
Crushed breadfruit.
Okay.
Crushed breadfruit.
Thanks for the correction.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is Jamaica Producers.
Okay.
You know, so that's another local partner.
And Thalia, is this something about, you know, I find a lot of Jamaica companies can't pull this off. You know, a lot of companies, not just in Jamaica, globally, they have egos. It has to be about them. They can't do joint ventures. But something unique with you, I mean, even if you say, okay, it's food, but not all shops can do this. I mean, you have, as you said, you could put JP on something. You can have true juice juices or mixed juices. But you go into other businesses and they'll tell you, no, we want no partnerships. We don't want to give anybody else branding. We're the best. So is this a Thalia Lyn thing that then gets mixed into Island Grill?
I can't take credit.
So where is this coming from?
It's coming from Mike and Denise because they're, as I said, I think having gone to art school, and we went to art school, so the business part of it, but it melds so beautiful. That's where the innovation comes from. And if the joint ventures work in that, like Lent.
Okay.
So we're using Rainforest's products.
Right. Another brand then?
Yes.
Another big Jamaican brand?
Big Jamaican brand.
Right.
So Rainforest will have it on their social media. We'll have it on our social media.
Are you doing like National Bakery bread as well too?
No, not quite yet.
Not yet?
But we'll get to all the real Jamaican brands. I mean, we developed this veggie booster with True Juice. And they now have taken that veggie booster and incorporated it into their repertoire of juices. But how we ended up with Cinco, you know, is because William had said to us, look, you need to start selling Coke. And we said, well, we'll think about it if you develop a limeade for us. We want a Jamaican limeade to put on our menu. And we went through, this takes a lot of work.
And not just the adults of it, but the kids of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the limeade, and then Mike said, okay, you have a Starbucks cup, which is like a status symbol. We need to have something that they can walk with their limeade in, right? And he put this logo on the limeade cup, and people walk around with their Island Grill cups.
Are you selling merchandise as well, or
not yet? But we'll get to that.
But you do have some plans for that.
We do have a lot of. It's like our sauces. Our sauce is homegrown as well. It's something we formulated in house. And people say, oh, when I go, I ask for extra sauce because I like the sauce so much.
Does the next generation, and you light up when you talk about your next generation, because clearly this is your business continuity plan. I mean, you feel, Thalia, passionately, Island Grill can be here 50 years from now?
Oh, it will be.
It will be?
It will be. And, Mike said to our team today, right, even if we're not our own, you're our succession plan. We're developing leaders. We want a culture of leadership in this company, so that if we're not around, we can say to our grandchildren, look at, how we have developed the leaders who have continued the business. And, my dream is still for it to go a little further.
Okay.
But Mike and Denise will tell you, but, we have the opportunity to open 40 restaurants here.
In Jamaica?
They're thinking that we could.
So you could double or more?
Yes, we can double. We can double without a doubt. We can double.
Smaller store footprints or different size stores?
We'll see how the menu evolves. Because, you see, our menu is a little bit complicated.
It's big, you mean?
It's big. We have a choice of 3 rices. Rice and peas, callaloo rice, pumpkin rice. And we've spoilt our customers.
What's the best-selling rice?
Rice and peas.
Okay.
And, originally we only had pumpkin rice and callaloo rice because we wanted to differentiate ourselves. And then we gave in and we put the rice and peas on. And it became so popular. But now we only have 2 rices per day. And even then we had a hard time. Our customers saying, but I want callaloo rice today. Why don't you have it? It's only... So it's a transition.
There's been some social media, chatter sometimes just about, sometimes you've had to change some of your raw materials or your supplies, and people are clearly very passionate about
the French fries.
Your products.
Oh, the French fries.
That was the one. I'm glad you said it. So, I mean, how has, just this whole global logistics, shipping, or just changes in the world, how is it just the French fries, or have you had some other impact?
Well, it's the price increases. Because, chicken has gone up. I can't remember how many times. Packaging has gone up. But the French fries is where we got the worst kind of comments on, why have you changed your French fries?
It was a seasoning, right?
It was a seasoning. We have seasoned fries.
Right.
And they're not thinking, they're thinking we just changed it. But to show how well we pivot and innovate, the team, and it was Priscilla, it's something we always wanted to do, but we didn't want to further complicate the menu. But the crushed breadfruit, we said, okay, we don't have French fries, so we're going to put in the crushed breadfruit as a substitute. And the head of marketing, Priscilla, she did such a beautiful job of creating the image of it too. It really is beautiful.
No, I love that product, but what's the feedback so far?
I would say 95% is positive. There are some people who say, I can go to market and buy a breadfruit for $200
and do it yourself.
But the majority of people don't want to do that.
Right.
And we make sure when we roll out a product, and this is where ops is key, they make sure that the staff know exactly how to fry it. Right? What temperature the oil should be at, how to drain it properly, the color it should be. There's a pictorial so you can see. So that way we know we're giving them the optimal product, and it's not worth your while to go to Carnation and buy a breadfruit for $200.
Nice. And there might be some health here as well, right?
Well, we use better oil as well. You can't get away from the fried.
Yes.
It's the same way. You can't get away from fried chicken. I had 2 chicken legs from competitors yesterday. I love fried chicken, but I know it's not healthy for me. So I don't eat it very often.
It's good.
But we are comfort food.
You're living well. Enough market share out there.
Yes.
We're going to come back to it. We'll take another break on Business Dive Extra. We'll talk about Island Grill's future plans with CEO Thalia Lyn when we return. Welcome back to Business Dive Extra. As Island Grill continues to grow after 4 decades, Thalia Lyn is gradually sliding into the background to focus on philanthropy, community involvement, and her garden. The successors, her son Michael and wife Denise Lyn, will become the face of the establishment as the baton passes on. Before Island Grill gets there, we find out more about Island Grill's thoughts on where the QSR market is going regarding delivery services, drive-thrus, getting the product to customers faster, potential consolidation in the market, and much more. For a final time, we're joined by the iconic chicken lady, Thalia Lyn, founder and CEO of Island Grill. Thalia, we're ready to rock and roll one final time.
Well, I can't believe we haven't run out of things to talk about.
No, I mean, your 30 years or more, career as a chicken lady.
Yeah.
That's a lot to talk about.
I can be put out to garden now.
A nice
I
way
love
of
my
putting
garden.
it. Yeah.
I love my garden. Not put out to pasture, put out to garden.
Well, as I say,
Love my garden.
grow what you eat and
Yes.
being healthy.
Yes, yes, for sure.
It's a good look. Thalia, on that point, any thoughts of the public markets? You look at the equity markets now. I mean, some persons will say the valuations are crazy, but there's more equity money out there than, let's say, debt money. I mean, you look at like Fesco went public. They're worth almost 100 million US on the stock market now. We've seen Edufocal go public, up like 300%. Spurtree, you mentioned Mohan. I mean, they also are up something like 400%. I mean, something like billions of equity capitalization. You made some board changes recently. Any thoughts on equity market this year, next year, in the future?
What I do know is we have a lot of brand capital. We really do. We have so much goodwill that I think if we went public, yes, we could raise enough equity. What we're looking for more is expertise.
Okay.
So and that's why the board also is a younger board, but in different areas. The board members are all different, they have different skill sets, which is what we need right now. So yes, we would go to the equity market for, more capital to expand more rapidly, because we also feel that what we have done is built our team. We're quite confident that, we have 13 departments, believe it or not, but
okay.
we've gotten more cognizant that governance is important. So we're paying attention to governance, especially governance in a family business. Paying attention to that.
Fair.
But we never really had an internal auditor before. We now have a good internal auditor, Hervin, who is really good. We have a quality control department. We have a risk and safety department. So we're positioned where before we didn't have people specifically focused on those different areas that are important. I mean, when I think about, we started at Twin Gates, and I did everything out of that store.
That was a first store.
That was a first store.
So even, in those days, you never had a commissary.
We never had a commissary. We were marinating the chicken in there. We were doing the accounts in there. We did, that was really building from scratch, Mark. And now we've past the stage where we were fixing the plane while it was flying. Now at least the plane has landed and we know that we have to do regular maintenance, which I think is an apt analogy, wouldn't you say? But it's
especially with Captain.
Yes. When I think of Tony Myers, the KFC, who was also an airline captain, and I remember him saying to me before we were even in this business that he had the infrastructure. He had 5 restaurants. He says, I have the infrastructure for 15 restaurants. So that's why I'm confident that we could grow, we could double the size, because our people are there and enthusiastic and ready to go.
Ready to go. And how do you manage, from, say, Twin Gates Store 1, do you do a larger, let's say, whether it's a warehouse or commissary in-house today, or do you outsource
Yes, we have a commissary. And there again, I've learned to listen better and better as I go along. But when Denise and Mike suggested to me that I needed to put in a commissary, and this was before they were even here in Jamaica with me, but they said, we need a commissary because, and I kept saying, that's not that's a cost center. It's not producing revenue.
Yes.
And if I think about each department as such, but they're so important. How can I run multiple units without a commissary? And we even tried to do our own delivery, and that didn't work, so we outsourced it.
Okay.
But, the part that I think we need to master better is technology.
Technology.
Yes.
And when you say that, meaning like an internal, I don't know, although it's a fancy phrase, like enterprise-wide system, or are you talking about, like, as you said, delivery services, or
so we're doing all of that,
whole gamut?
No, we're doing all of that. What I think we need to do is, we need somebody. We have an IT department, and the guys are good, but it's to keep up, because technology changes so much.
So rapidly.
It's beyond me. They bought me an iWatch. I was going to wear it, and then I'm saying, and then Mike asked me, how does it work? And I don't know, right? So, but I'm just saying, Apple Watch.
Here?
Yes, yes, because it takes me a little while to sit down and figure it out, but we've figured out. When I think about what we have done, what we realized during COVID was that the drive-thrus are important. We didn't have enough stores with drive-thrus.
I was going to say, do you have any drive-thrus now?
Yes, we do. And what we did is, like the board said, you need to ramp up your speed of service in those drive-thrus.
Where does Island have drive-thrus?
Red Hills, Portmore, Boulevard, Catherine Hall, Mandeville.
Okay, so you have 5.
We have, yes.
That's
so,
quite okay.
And those stores are the ones that have excelled. And one of the things, there again, technology, we had people trained outside there with the tablets, taking the orders to get the customers out quicker. We speed of service, but also accuracy to make sure that we don't have people yelling at us because we forgot out something.
Yes.
But, this is why I'm so proud of my people, that they have been able to grasp all of this and get it going and keep the customer happy.
Right.
So from a technology point of view, the other thing that we've worked out, and we're rolling it out slowly, and I'm saying we as if I'm taking credit, because I can't take much credit except say, hey, yeah, keep on going.
Yeah.
But online ordering, where they can pay for it online, and then...
And where does that then get picked up at a store, or do you operate like a ghost kitchen, or...
We're trying to work out more pickups. So they order it and they come and pick up. But what we didn't want...
Is it like curbside, Thalia? Or?
We will only do curbside if it's paid for online. We don't want our staff out there with cash.
Of course. Yeah.
It's just too dangerous. We don't want to expose them to that.
Right.
And so, as we configure going forward to pick up windows, if we can, that sort of thing to expedite it.
And these would maybe be like new stores where you can put in this type of architecture or this look and feel from scratch.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think you can cut down on dining now, which will. So what we spend on technology, we will probably save on in-store dining.
And do you have any, you're at 16 stores now, but do you have any new stores planned for this fiscal year or, or next fiscal year?
Well, we have a lovely one coming up in Spanish Town, New Brunswick Road. It's
and will that be a drive-through as well?
It's a drive-through.
Okay.
Mike and Denise and some of the team went out and did a site visit. It's going to be really nice, because it's a whole village that has been created by John Bailey. And Sagicor is a partner in there. Okay. So, talk about joint ventures, working with people.
Yes.
I mean, I have to mention BNS was good to me during COVID.
Yes.
We restructured loans because it was hard, but we restructured, it was partnerships, goodwill. It's so important, Mark. Okay. And that is what has benefited us so well.
And that seems to be a recurring theme. That's how you've really got through, or that's how you've grown Island Grill.
Yes.
Is,
really
goodwill,
and truly.
Relationships, and these JVs over the years.
All the relationships we have built, and that's why the succession plan will work. Yes. Because Mike and Denise realize that it's internal as well as external.
But Thalia, it seems what makes you a differentiator is, but you've also incorporated them and you've passed your relationships down. I mean, have you actually on purpose included them and been passing your goodwill relationships down to both of them to kind of, in a way, force the business continuity?
More and more. Yeah. Because they basically are, let's say, not as outgoing as I am, but they're getting into it now. Yeah. But they are they know, because as I said, they've been working on the internal relationships with its staff, and they're also realizing that, getting to know people And this is why reading that Brené
And you're a
Brown book-
fantastic introducer.
Well,
You're a great connector.
yes.
Yeah.
And so they've gotten used to me. It was hard during COVID because we weren't getting out as much. But they're used to me dragging them along and saying, oh, meet my son, meet my daughter-in-law, that sort of
but no,
thing.
it's more of a professional,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
respect relationship, etc.
Correct, correct. And they'll build their own relationships. And you see, they didn't live here in Jamaica,
Yeah.
so they're just kind of getting into their own social scene.
And you're leading that. And Thalia, in a nutshell, right? A lot of other great local brands might not have this business continuity program that you're doing and you're pushing, but that's what could get you there for the next 50 years. Do you see opportunity? Do you see potential market consolidation in other QSRs? And I know it's a touchy subject, it's very sensitive, but do you see opportunity for Island Grill?
In probably buying out another chain
Acquisitions
or
and
merging
just
with another
market
chain.
consolidation.
It's possible, but you see, we have to have the same mindset, and that's our biggest. It took us a little while for us to realize how we develop a culture, and how to. For our team, if nobody likes change. So for our team to buy into that, that would be one of the biggest, I think, kinds of, I wouldn't call it a hurdle, because we've done so well with them, where we can sit and talk, which is a great thing. But a merger takes a lot of getting to know you. So yes, it could happen, but I think we would have to, the companies would have to have a meeting of the minds and a meeting of the hearts.
Well
that,
said.
to me, is a bigger thing.
The bigger thing.
Yes, a meeting of the hearts.
It might make sense for you to continue to grow organically, consider equity markets.
I think it would
so
be
forth.
easier. So I'm not saying it's impossible, because I do feel we should really have a strong Jamaican brand. So even if we don't consolidate, if we could figure out how to work more together.
Well said. Thalia.
I think
Yeah.
that would be.
No, well said. Thalia, thank you so much for joining us on Business Live Extra.
Thank you for having me. I hope I
Yeah.
didn't ramble too much. But
No, it's been brilliant. It's been great having you and learning so much about you, you know?
thanks, Mark.
No,
I
it's
really
good.
appreciate that.
You're a rock star. It's good having you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Let's rock and roll
And,
soon.
Absolutely. It's good. That's it for another edition of Business Live Extra. Remember, good food choices are good investments. We've been talking with Thalia Lyn, founder and CEO of Island Grill Group of Restaurants. Don't forget, you can watch us online at cvm.com/videos/Business Live Extra. Thanks for joining us.